Well, in this lecture, we'll see the blockchain foundations. In the last lecture, we started with the introduction to the blockchain, and also we have seen various business environments and the business environments where only the transactions are involved and the environment where the money is involved. We have seen two cases. Based on that, we have gone for the definition of the blockchain. Then we have moved on to the taxonomy of blockchain. How many categories are there in the blockchain and versions of the blockchain. And finally, we concluded that the best example for the cryptocurrency, if you consider only cryptocurrency based blockchain, then the Bitcoin is a suitable architecture that we can learn. If we want the blockchain, that is cryptocurrency plus smart contracts, then Ethereum is the blockchain suitable for it. And we have seen third category of the blockchain, where it is a private blockchain and only supports the smart contracts, and there is no scope of the cryptocurrency to be added, which is called IBM Hyperledger. So in this way, we concluded the last lecture. In this lecture, we'll see the blockchain foundations. That means the building blocks of the blockchain. These are the building blocks everyone must thoroughly understand. Then only they can have an idea of how to program the blockchain frameworks or how to develop the applications in the blockchain frameworks. Yeah, in the blockchain foundations, there are three categories. The first one is networking. One must understand the networking concepts, in which we are going to discuss the categories like centralized networks, decentralized networks, distributed networks, and peer-to-peer networks. Next, we are going to see the cryptography concepts. As we have seen, the achieving of the confidentiality, integrity, authentication, and non-repudiation will be achieved with the help of cryptography concepts. Hence, we are going to see the encryption, decryption, hashing, and digital signature concepts that are helpful for understanding the blockchain. Next, we will move on to the data structures such as chaining. That means how to chain the blocks, which is in a linked list fashion. Next, very popular data structure that is used in the block creation, which is called Merkle tree, which is a hash tree, which is a hashing based, cryptographic hashing based tree, and how it is going to be formed. Next, we'll see some details about the distributed ledger technology. Then, what is the difference between the distributed ledger technology and databases, or we can say blockchain and databases. So these are the concepts we are going to see in the blockchain foundations. Once we complete these blockchain foundations, based upon the knowledge we gain, we'll move on to the Bitcoin case study. The first we'll see the networking concept. In general, computer networking, if it was done in the organization level or at the domestic level or maybe at the organization, we broadly classify into three categories. One is centralized networks, second one is decentralized networks, another is distributed networks. So centralized networks means there will be one particular server with which many clients were connected, as shown in the first figure. And here, all the clients has to request to the server, and server has to process the request, and the reply has to send back. That means client don't have any individuality in performing the duties. That means all the clients which were connected to the server will be over dependent on the server to perform. And at the same time, server has to hold that many requests that are connected to the clients and has to process in a systematic way. This is the way of working of the centralized thing, and the clients that you use in the centralized system are called thin clients, where there is no processing kind of thing will be there. Directly the processing will be done by the server, and the result will be displayed onto the client. The main problem with this is if the server dies, then if the server won't work, then it is very difficult to run the centralized network. While coming to the decentralized network, decentralized network is a combination of multiple centralized networks, we can say. Here, if you look at in this diagram, so this particular thing is a centralized network, but this server is linked to the another centralized network. Like that, this server is connected to the another centralized network. Like that, various other centralized networks have been connected with some communication link. So these servers of the centralized networks have been connected. So we can say this is to be the decentralized networks. While coming to the distributed networks is nothing but, here there exists multiple paths from one node to another node. Even though one link fails, the communication can happen through other links. So here, if you look at this server and this server is there, and there is a relation, there is a link here. If this link fails, that's all. This centralized network is completely isolated with the other centralized network. Where in case of distributed network, even though one link was failed, the communication can achieve through other links, which is called distributed network. That means every node in the network is connected with other networks. So why we need to discuss this centralized, decentralized, and distributed networks is, that means we have seen in the example of the Bitcoin, blockchain, whenever any transaction is created, the transaction has to be, a copy of the transaction has to be sent to all the stakeholders in that particular business. That means they are connected over the network. That means one copy of the transaction must be sent to everyone. So that means, how is it possible if it has to send to everyone? That means in case of centralized network, sometimes it is not possible. In case of decentralized network, okay, it is possible. In the case of distributed network also, it is possible. Because in centralized network, if there is a server and some two persons are there, they are making the transaction, then obviously they too can listen to it. Unless until other participant connected to the same server, they cannot get the copy of that. While coming to the decentralized and distributed, it is not the case. So that is the reason the centralized networks are not suitable for working with the blockchain network or blockchain technology. So we need decentralized and or distributed networks, in which we require a specialized network called peer-to-peer networks. So peer-to-peer network means, in this centralized network we have seen, the clients don't have much processing capability. While coming to the peer-to-peer networks, all the participants or all the systems in the peer-to-peer networks have their own processing capability, storage capabilities, everything, and they have connected over in the distributed medium. So such kind of networks are said to be the peer-to-peer networks. If you look at the networking, there are several properties that must be addressed here. The properties are like this: development, evaluation, the fault tolerance, maintenance, and scalability. With respect to these properties, if you look at centralized networks, development in the centralized networks can be made fast, and evaluation is very low. Fault tolerance is also low. Fault tolerance means if any fault occurs, or if any error occurred, or any failure in the hardware occurs, it should be in a position to serve the services. That is what we call fault tolerance. Maintenance is also low. Scalability is low. Scalability means the ability to add many users to the system. So the scalability is very low, because as the number of systems increases, obviously there will be a burden on the server. That means it has to process that many requests. So the reason in centralized it is low. While coming to the decentralized, the properties are medium. Development is medium, evolution is high. While coming to the fault tolerance is also medium, maintenance medium, scalability medium. While coming to the distributed, development is medium, but remaining and all are high. Because even though one link fails, you can get the communication via other links. Scalability, one can add any number of systems and any number of communications links with other nodes. If new node joins, obviously they can also get the other communication links. So in this way, distributed systems are very, very useful in achieving this one. So whenever a transaction has been performed and it has to be intimated to all the participants, then it is better to use a distributed system or distributed network so that it will help in achieving the same copy or the objective of the blockchain where the shared distributed ledger can be maintained among all the participants. So hence, blockchain is a decentralized and a distributed network pattern and nodes communicating them via peer-to-peer fashion. We have seen in the olden days means just till 5-6 years back, we used to use the BitTorrent protocol. We used to use the BitTorrent protocol. That is a kind of peer-to-peer network. So BitTorrent is an example of peer-to-peer architecture. Peer-to-peer is nothing but the system which is there in the peer-to-peer network will be having its own processing capability. It can communicate over the network. Whenever it communicates over the network, first it will give you how many peers have been connected to it, and will pass on the peer-to-peer information to the network, so that the other nodes which receives the particular connection information will update their table, and then the communication, the particular routing table will be updated, and the same table will be moved forward or forwarded further for other periodic updations. So that we'll see in detail now. And another one we are going to see here, which is a peer-to-peer network file sharing architecture, which is called IPFS, Interplanetary File System. So this BitTorrent and IPFS are the best examples of the peer-to-peer file system. So in summary, we can say the blockchain is a decentralized and distributed network patterns and nodes communicating among them via peer-to-peer fashion. So let me observe the BitTorrent protocol. The BitTorrent applications are, many BitTorrent applications are there that we might have used for downloading the large files. So, for example, this is the network, which is a peer-to-peer network and also a kind of distributed network. Assume that, for example, this system was installed with the BitTorrent application, and other computers are also installed with the BitTorrent applications, but they are turned off. For example, this system consisting of a movie file, where a BitTorrent file was available with the movie file, and that particular BitTorrent application is turned on, and the internet connection is also turned on. Now, this is the participant. This is the participant who joined the network. That means the system was turned on, and BitTorrent application was turned on. Now it wants to download the movie file which is available here. So what it will do is it will send a request over the network. So when it is sending the request, what it will do is it will send who are the other peers, okay, which are running the BitTorrent application. Their data will be collected, and a table will be maintained that my IP address and who are the other systems which is running the same BitTorrent application, their details. That particular table will be formed. Whenever it requests for the movie file, that particular data, that particular information, the routing information or table information, will be forwarded to the nearby nodes. And the nearby nodes will also update, if they are turned on, they will also update the details of their nearby nodes, okay, and will move forward. Like that, this data will be transmitted or flooded, we can say, flooded over the entire network. And whenever they find there is no updation or there is no updation in the routing table to be done, then they will consider that particular table as the final table. Otherwise, periodically the updations will happen, and accordingly the connection maintenances will be done. So in this way, this particular BitTorrent protocol will work. And the beauty of the BitTorrent protocol is you don't know from which corner you are receiving the particular movie file. The entire transmission will happen in the bits format. For example, this computer is having the movie file, and this computer also having movie file, and this computer also having movie file. Then if this particular computer is requesting the movie file, some part of the movie file will receive from this computer, and some part will receive from this computer, and some part will receive from this computer. And finally, no one can understand that in the entire network from which part is coming from which computer. Okay, so this is what the beauty of the BitTorrent protocol. So that is reason it is very hard to identify which part of the movie was coming from the which computer. So the file provider, the system who is said to be the file provider is said to be seeds, and the system which is requesting for the file is said to be leeches. So in case of BitTorrent, so seed is nothing but who is giving the file, and leech is nothing but who is getting the file. So this is the terminology used in the BitTorrent protocol. So BitTorrent in this way will become the peer-to-peer file sharing protocol. .torrent file is used by the torrent clients for downloading the files. For example, if this computer don't have the BitTorrent application, so it will not be recognized by other computers, because this application has to run on the computer. Otherwise, the application don't have cannot recognize, or the system alone cannot recognize who are the other things. So that is the reason, if you want to run a BitTorrent application, that BitTorrent protocol, the BitTorrent related client or application must run on the computer. In the same way, if you are working with the Bitcoin protocol, the Bitcoin application must run on your computer, then only it can recognize other Bitcoin applications. If you are working with the Ethereum application, Ethereum blockchain, the Ethereum blockchain should run on your computer, then only it can recognize who are the other Ethereum blockchains framework computers over the network. In the same way, if you are working with the IBM Hyperledger, then only the computer which is installed IBM Hyperledger only can identify who are the applications or who are the computers or what are the computers that are running the IBM Hyperledger. So with this, you might have got an idea that how the blockchain frameworks will recognize the same framework which is available on the network. So in this way, the peer-to-peer network will be formed. Anyhow, we all know that the internet is a kind of a distributed network. So as we have seen in the definition here, the blockchain is a decentralized and a distributed network pattern, and nodes communicating them among peer-to-peer fashion. So this is the beautiful example, we can say, BitTorrent. Once you understand the BitTorrent functionality, then it is very easy to understand the blockchain functionality also. So this torrent file consisting of tracker, a special server information. So what the tracker will do, the tracker will identify who are the nearby nodes which are connected with the computer. Then that particular tracking information will be sent or flooded over the network. The computers who are receiving the particular tracking information will update their tracking information. Like that, it will spread over the network. BitTorrent downloads or uploads will happen like a swarm. Swarm means you don't know from which corner and from which direction you are getting this particular bit stream. Leeches indicates the peers from where the file is downloaded. Any peer downloaded a file can become a seeder to make file available to others. And torrent tracking will be done with the help of the distributed hash table, in which they won't mention the exactly the system information. However, they will mention the system information or the peer information in a cryptographic hash form. So that cryptographic hash form representation will be maintained. The peer information will be maintained in the cryptographic hash format, and that particular table format is said to be a distributed hash table format. That particular table was distributed over the network for the updation by the other peers. And trackerless torrents, obviously you cannot track from where to where this particular stream is going on. That is the reason we can say these are the trackerless torrents. The reason is there is no clear-cut information, clear text information available, because everything will be written in the hashing format only, cryptographic hash format only. Unless until you don't get the cryptographic hash format back, you won't get the information. This is not encryption. Encryption where you can get the decrypted form back. But in case of cryptographic hash function or cryptographic hash value, if you have the cryptographic hash value, you cannot get the original text back. That is what which is also called as one-way hash functions that you might have learned in your cryptography subjects. So in this way, it becomes the trackerless torrents. I hope by this time you got an understanding of working procedure of the BitTorrent protocol. In the same way, the Bitcoin protocols and other blockchain protocols or applications will also work. So the next example is the interplanetary file system. The interplanetary file system means IPFS. So the IPFS, interplanetary file system, will be having an application that you need to download from the IPFS.io website and you need to install on your computer. And if you use this IPFS framework or the file format with the blockchain, then it will become the decentralized file system. IPFS was originally created by John Bennett, founder of the Protocol Labs. It uses the best use of hashes. No server, no sign up, it is directly communication. It supports direct communication. It is very fast, secure and reliable. So what is the specialty of this IPFS? So you can go through this video which was provided here. That is, this is my video only. You can go through this, in this video, in the description section, I have provided the links from where you can download the application, which was explained in the particular video, and how to upload and download the files using this IPFS. For this, what you are supposed to do is you need to download the IPFS application from the IPFS.io and install on your computer. Now, once you install, you will be getting a system tray, IPFS server or IPFS application. Right click on the system icon, IPFS system tray icon, and upload a file. So you select whatever the file you want and you upload. Once you upload, a cryptographic hash value of the particular file will be generated. You can share the particular cryptographic hash value to your friends. They may also install the same IPFS application on their end, and they may enter the same hash value that you have provided and can download the file from the internet. That means you are not sending any file. You are sending only the cryptographic hash value of the file. Just with the cryptographic hash value, they will be in a position to download the file. So this is what the IPFS platform, and you can upload a file of maximum 100 MB. So currently it supports 100 MB size maximum. So you can send a file of maximum 100 MB. If you have more than 100 MB, you divided it into less than 100 MB file sizes, and you may upload the multiple files and get the hashes of those files, and you can give it to your friends. So this is the best useful of the IPFS platform, which also works like a BitTorrent protocol only. So in BitTorrent application, we have seen once the BitTorrent application was turned on, then it will recognize who are the other computers which are in the network is using same BitTorrent application. Like that, once you turn on the IPFS application, it will identify who are the peers in the network. That means who are the computers which is using this IPFS software or IPFS application. So in this way, it will maintain a peer-to-peer network. So this peer-to-peer file system plus your blockchain, if you add it, then it will form a decentralized file system. The objective of that blockchain of achieving decentralized and distributed network pattern with the peer-to-peer communication will be achieved. So the best example to understand the blockchain file format is BitTorrent, and if you develop your own blockchain framework, you can take the help of the IPFS to form a decentralized file system for your blockchain framework. So how this IPFS will help us, and how to download this software and how to upload the files, you can find it from this particular lecture video that is provided. And also the same thing was also provided in 2 or 3 questions in the tutorial that you may also practice and can come to know how the IPFS works. And here are some networking references, this networking topic references. So you may also go through this. This will help. These links will help you to answer the questions in the tutorial.